Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Action.
Ready, set, go.
Hi! Welcome to an on-site episode of The Creatures of the Night. I'm Chris.
And I'm Wendy.
And it's our 100th episode!
Woo! We did this!
Happy 100th episode, Wendy.
Happy 100th birthday,
And you know
Chris.
what? You know how we celebrate? By dragging Wendy all over New Hampshire
Yeah.
in the heat
Uphill.
of the summer.
heat. Oh my gosh.
Uphill, one way. There was humidity, bugs, water.
I did get bit by, I think, a mosquito once.
Mm-hmm. I beat the crap out of a mosquito with my hand.
You did. You
brained
punched
him.
it.
Boom. Oh my goodness. So Wendy basically surprised me with a, hey, surprise, I'm going to come and see you. And here she is. I mean, it wasn't that much of a surprise. This was like a couple weeks in the making.
No,
so.
I did ask for permission just in
No,
case.
she did. She didn't just bring that one on me. She did ask for permission. And now she's here so that we can do our 100th episode together.
Yay! Well, we would always do it together.
Well,
but face to face.
Face to face.
I could reach out and touch you.
Yes.
Actually, I'm kind of far.
We're
and my
6 feet
chair
away.
is creakety.
Social
so.
distancing. And today we're staying in a bed and breakfast that's in a beautiful part of New Hampshire. There's mountains around. There's water around. There's screened-in porches. It's fabulous.
It is picturesque. It's so pretty.
It is postcard-like.
And this place is adorable.
It is quite quaint. I love it. Every bit of it.
Yeah. Old furniture everywhere. Nobody said it was haunted, but I'm pretty sure it's haunted.
Oh, it's got to be. It's a B&B. It's old. They're talking about how the floors are like 100 years old.
They're haunted.
They're haunted.
Yes,
Totally.
they have to be.
Oh, gosh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Yes. But it is super adorable. So we are in a B&B in the wild of New Hampshire. So maybe we'll see some bears if we're lucky. I don't know.
Been searching for those moose all day.
Amongst other things. We did go on a bit of a search today for some abandoned buildings, some graves,
Yeah.
a haunted graveyard we may or may have not found. It's still up for debate.
Yeah, it's problematic when they like to reuse names, like how you were talking about Pine Grove,
yeah.
and there's like 20 of them in the
All
state
over.
of New Hampshire
Yep.
alone. And so we navigate to one Stark Road Cemetery, only to be like, I don't think this is it.
It might have not have been the right one per all the legends, the one that we were looking for, but it's a haunted cemetery.
It has to be.
Oh my God. Well, I found those two markers that said unknown 1 and unknown 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to leave some kind of a dark stain. I mean, some
For sure.
unknown. Come on, figure out who I am. Put my name here, right?
Yeah. And the headstones were gorgeous there.
Oh,
that
wow.
was an adorable cemetery. I don't need to see the other one.
It was an
I'm
adorable-
happy with this one.
I've never had to use steps up and down to get into a cemetery before, to climb
know.
over a wall.
That was
Yeah.
very
It
interesting.
was interesting.
Yeah.
And then we got chased out by Doc Brown from Back to the Future. He said, "Great Scott." And we were like, "Peace. That's a ghost."
Not going into the past. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was a great time in honor of our birthday, our 100th episode. We are 100 years old today. I feel like it.
Yeah. I was going to say, and we look so young.
After all the walking and everything I did today, my bones are aching. But yeah, so to celebrate our 100th episode, Wendy, would you like me to tell you a story?
No, this time I don't want you
No,
to.
no stories
No,
this
we're
time.
just going to.
Sit here
I
and
saw some
chit-chat.
Uno cards out on the table in the lobby
I saw
area.
some humongous checkers.
Yeah.
Huge.
We should just play board games and whatnot together.
podcast?
Yeah, just record it.
Mhm.
Show how vicious we can get with each other.
Draw 24.
I call war.
Did I post that meme?
No.
I think I did. Of the cat.
Oh, I probably. Look, I apparently don't even look at our own posts.
Oh, you don't? It was a funny one. It's a cat with a handful of cards.
Yeah. No,
And
I
it's-
did see
You
that
saw
one.
that?
Yeah.
It said something like, "Quit going wild at 3 a.m. or draw 24.
No, but I'd actually really love to hear a story.
Okay, good. So I'm actually going to piggyback a little bit off of one of your stories
Interesting.
that you told a little while back. And that's all because I've been hanging on to this magical story for some time now. And I decided now would be an okay time to finally release this into the podcast wild. So the story that I'm referring to of Wendy's was episode 73, Ugly Crying. And if you haven't heard it yet, first of all, you're a monster. Please like and subscribe. LOL. So that episode was an incredible after Valentine's Day story that was filled with love, sexy TV shows, and the history which led Wendy to research an area of Scotland known as Inverness. I think. I want to say you might have researched how to say it, and it was more like Inverness.
Inverness
Inverness.
is how they say it on Outlander, and that's
Okay.
where I get all my history from.
I'm probably going to say it wrong throughout this whole thing because you know those R's always trip me up. I'll put extra R's where they don't even belong. So Inverness. I'll try and go with that. I am referring you all to that episode because when I drop some historical stuff on you later, just remember episode 73 is still there for you. Now, we all love Scotland, and for a variety of reasons. You've got gorgeous, breathtaking scenery and crumbling old castles, bagpipes, whiskey, and of course, the Loch Ness Monster.
And Sam Hewen.
Right.
Sorry.
I mean, I did leave out a few things. We got to save some time here. Sorry, I don't have a story about Sam, but I can tell you a little bit about the Loch Ness Monster. So the Loch Ness Monster has been described as being this large aquatic dinosaur type of a thing.
Right.
Having an extremely long neck and multiple humps that protrude from the water. The first claimed sighting of Nessie was actually all the way back in the 1870s when a D. Mackenzie claimed to have seen something wriggling and churning up the water. Though some reports of a creature living in the Loch Ness Lake date as far back as the 6th century. But the first written encounter was recorded in 565 AD. I don't know if I'm supposed to say 565 AD. Probably. That would sound better, right?
No, I like the way you said it the first time.
565 AD.
Yeah.
It's so epic. And this was in a biography of Saint Columba. Though the best known early mention of Nessie, which helped to draw in a lot of attention, was from an article in the Inverness Courier that was published on May 2nd, 1933. This article was about a large beast or whale-like fish that described an encounter of the enormous creature having the body of a whale rolling in the water in the loch. After this story broke, the possibility of a monster became a media phenomenon, with London newspapers sending their correspondents to Scotland, and even one that offered a sweet €20,000 reward for anyone who could capture the beast. Obviously in photos.
Oh, I thought you really meant like get out there and put a net around them. Yeah.
Oh, hey, maybe. It was €20,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. They might want more than a picture.
Yeah, like, it's like catching Jaws or something.
I didn't think about that. I just assumed picture, but you're right. That's a lot of money for just a picture.
But it sounds like an impossible task.
It is an impossible task. So that's why they're like $20,000. Go for it.
Might as well make it 1 million or whatever.
Right. €1 million. So this began the start of many, many years of obsessed people coming from all over the world in search of the long-necked dinosaur-like aquatic creature, which today remains just as mysterious as when it was first spotted. But check this out. In 1900, 3 keepers of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse, which is off the coast of Scotland, suddenly all just disappeared. And it was under a very extremely strange circumstance. The lighthouse had been manned by a 3-person team, Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur, with a 4th man that rotated in from the shores. Or probably shore, not multiples, but whatever. On Boxing Day, which is December 26th, the relief keeper arrived to find none of the lighthouse keepers present. The only sign that anything was amiss was an overturned chair near the kitchen table. No bodies were ever found, which has led this to endless speculation. Theories range from drownings to abduction, either by foreign spies or alien.
When you just up and vanish like that, I mean,
It could be anything.
what is the other option?
Right.
It's aliens.
Yeah, that. Or like, I don't know, black hole. Like, what was the story that you did where people just like poof?
Poof. Yeah.
At a
They're
time?
just gone. Yeah.
A possible ghost ship is also one of the theories. Or that of our legendary sea monster. Just hungry. He's hungry. It's almost Christmas time. I got to get a full belly. So whatever happened back in December of 1900 at the Flannan Isles Lighthouse, their disappearance remains unsolved to this day. And just in case you thought I was going to leave you to your thoughts on that one, you are wrong. You see, Scotland has another creature that is also very mysterious and is maybe not so much to blame for the disappearance of the lighthouse keepers, but since we're on the subject of strange phenomenon in Scotland, I just could not leave this one out. So this other creature is known as the Big Gray Man.
What? Okay.
I know it's not very spooky.
No, it doesn't seem incredibly clever.
Let me see if I can say it a little bit scarier. The big gray man.
Oh, now I'm terrified.
Well, he's said to haunt the summit and the passes of the second highest peak in Scotland. In the native Scottish tongue, the creature is known as Fear Leoth Moor.
Oh, I know that.
You know what I'm talking about now?
No,
You got it. Oh, now I get it. Much like the Yeti of the Himalayas and the Sasquatch of the American Pacific Northwest, the big gray man has had many eyewitness reports, but little in the way of actual evidence, just like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know, those who have seen the big gray man described him as being extremely tall, over 10 feet. That would be the big part.
Yeah.
He's very human-like with short hair, broad shoulders, long arms. Nearly all reports of sightings include the sound of gravel crunching beneath his footfalls.
He's got rocks stuck in his toes or something.
Man, that's gotta hurt.
Like, yeah, what if he's on pavement? You're still hearing gravel.
You always hear gravel. Doesn't matter where you are. You're at the beach, you still hear gravel.
Yeah, he's just got rocks falling off of him.
That's the great part.
Yeah.
He's the rock man. So, yeah, you should be able to hear him coming where you are because of all the crunching.
But I wonder how fast he is.
Right.
He's a big dude.
I just imagine if he's always crunching around on gravel, that he's always like, ow.
He's very noisy.
Ow.
You hear him coming. You're like, I see you.
Who's that? It's not me. Not the big gray man. Now, my story is not about these mysterious Scottish monsters, but I did say that this was going to be a magical story after all, didn't I? And what better way to segue into a story about a haunted house that was once owned by a magician than to talk about a few spooky beasts? So just off the beautiful Loch Ness coast, there is a house, and it is known as the Boleskine House.
Why does it sound familiar to me?
It should. I told you I've been hanging on to this for a long time, but I have already kind of let some details out of the bag previously.
You know I have the world's worst memory.
It'll come to you really soon, I promise.
I feel like maybe we discussed this after I did my episode or something.
We have discussed this.
Okay.
Yes. So this has been an eerie location since the 10th century, and being nestled in an area where legends of sea serpents or the Scottish Bigfoot are already being reported, this house has offered up some additional tales of dark energies and unseen forces. Fast forward to the 17th century, where a minister by the name of Thomas Houston was left to contend with a notorious wizard, and it's called a Cruinair Friziel, or the Fraser Croner, or the maker of circles, as, wizards do. Houston unfortunately received the task of hastily laying animated corpses back in their graves after a devious local wizard had raised the dead in the Boleskine graveyard. But shortly afterwards, the church burnt to the ground during a service which killed all of the congregants inside. A bishop who visited the site in 1762 wrote that it was the poorest edifice of any kind I ever looked upon, as is also the manse. The churchyard is quite open, without any walls, where you see plenty of human bones above ground, and the floor of the church is overspread with them. Dogs are seen carrying away human bones in their teeth.
Whoa, wait a minute. So
Yeah.
it sat there from the 10th century?
No.
Okay.
This was actually at the same time. So remember, I fast forwarded all the way to like the 17th century.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
All right.
I skipped over some centuries just to get to the juice.
I thought they just left it there.
Yeah,
forever,
no.
you
It
know?
was like, they burn it down. They were just like, fuck it.
And then for like hundreds of years,
Can't
just
mess
like,
with that.
you guys, you really shouldn't go up there.
You know what? As spooky and crazy as it is, I could understand why people would just be like, no, I ain't going anywhere near it.
I wouldn't fuck with it.
No.
This wizard sounds serious.
Yeah, he's serious.
Yeah.
So, no, this guy showed up. I think it was maybe his congregation. Like I said, it
Like
was
to
a
survey
bishop.
it. And
Yeah.
and this is
And
what
he's
he
just
found.
like, damn, this is brutal. This is really bad. But instead of saying that, he lays it out in these very beautiful, elegant, dark
He probably
words.
said that when he saw it.
Yeah.
And then he
had to write the note.
Good. Yeah.
So Colonel Archibald Fraser, if I said that right, finds this site and decides that this would be a great spot to build the Boleskine House right on top of the charred remains of a church. The house even, is right. The house even looks over Boleskine Cemetery, which stands at the foot of the hill and has also been the site of various occult happenings. Not good ones, dark, as they should be. occult-like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, wait, is there any good occult stuff? And I was like, oh, wait, yeah, there is. Movies have to be a negative word.
Right, right. So the manor and the cemetery are also apparently linked by an underground tunnel, which leads from the cellar to the graveyard. Who did this and why? I only have speculation that this was done to allow a grave watcher to notify the master of the house when they caught someone trying to sneak away with the dead bodies. So, hold on. Just a visual. He just hops right down into the tunnel and shimmies his way up to the top of the hill at the house, all undercover, like, hey, boss, I just crawled through that tunnel instead of running up the hill.
Yeah, is there snow on the ground?
Maybe,
maybe something.
I guess.
I will move so much faster.
So much faster.
In a tunnel.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't have any explanation. Like I said, just speculation that's why.
Okay.
It's weird. Occult-like. But anyways, the house was actually originally built as a hunting lodge. So it really shouldn't have this tunnel to the graveyard if it was built as a hunting lodge, right? Unless he's just, I don't know, doing something weird.
He's doing something weird. What is the other reason to have a tunnel?
Right. It doesn't make sense. And this spot was chosen not because Colonel Archibald Fraser was huge into the macabre or anything like that, building it right on top of the site of the fire. But actually, he picked that location just to piss off Simon Fraser. You see, Colonel Archibald Fraser was a firm Jacobite, but all the land surrounding this little pocket had belonged to Simon Fraser. Simon was the 11th Lord Lovat, or better known as the most devious man in Scotland. So this guy ended up flip-flopping one too many times on his allegiance, eventually switching sides to support the Stuart cause. Mr. 11th Lord Lovat was among the Highlanders defeated in the Battle of Culloden and convicted of treason against the crown, following which he was sentenced to death and subsequently beheaded. But he got to claim the title as being the last person in Britain to be executed by beheading. Lucky him.
Yeah. Mom, look at what I did.
Right. See what So the Boleskine House was basically built as a middle finger to this guy. The hunting lodge was eventually expanded into the manor by the Fraser family. All the rooms were situated on one floor, having 4 bedrooms, a kitchen, a servant's attic bedroom, which was the bedroom right above the kitchen, a lounge, a drawing room, and a library. By the time of the Fraser family's ownership of the house, it was known as the Manor of Boleskine and Aberterf, which was the name of the local parish. Well, this location caught the attention of one 23-year-old Mr. Aleister Crowley.
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yes. I know. I missed the drum roll part, right? Here it comes.
It was happening inside my head.
Yeah. You should know this because we have talked about this before. Mr. Aleister Crowley believed that this was the perfect spot to sequester himself and perform a series of operations known as the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage, and I apologize if I am saying that wrong. I'm sure I'm brutalizing it. This was taken from the grimoire called the Book of Abramelin. It's probably like Abramelin. I don't know. It's probably got a more magical way of saying it, but I don't know how to do it. According to Crowley, in his book, The Confessions of Aleister Crowley, in order to perform these operations, the first essential is locating a house in a more or less secluded situation. There should be a door opening to the north from the room of which you would use as your private worship area. Outside this door, you'll need a terrace covered with fine river sand. This ends in a lodge where the spirits may congregate. The purpose of this ritual is to invoke one's guardian angel.
There's a lot of rules and magic sometimes.
There's a ton of things. Yeah. I mean, I got the river sand. I got that part.
Yeah. The door, I guess I get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it does say in a more or less secluded situation. So, I mean, wherever you are could be more or less secluded, depending on how you view that.
Is it because guardian angels are shy or something?
No. It has a lot to do with the lengthy operation of which you have to perform this spell. I cut out a lot of it because Aleister Crowley had a lot more details, that a lot more like rituals were kind of performed for this operation. So that's just the dumbed down version.
Got it. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. It was more than I really ever wanted to know. As it turns out, this is a lengthy operation in which requires at least 6 months of preparation, celibacy, and abstinence from alcohol.
Oh, no. Well,
we're out. However, it also includes the summoning of the 12 kings and dukes of hell, which are called up in order to bind them and remove their negative influences from the magician's life. So, in 1899, Aleister Crowley purchases this perfect place, describing it as a long, low building. He said...
Okay.
Can you see him on House Hunters?
They say dumb shit on that show all the time too, though. They're like in Arizona, but they want a craftsman or something.
Oh,
and
yeah?
It's like, what's wrong with you? Or they're in New York City and like looking for a log cabin. I don't know. It's just dumb stuff.
They always want the moon, like, in the most ridiculous spots.
There was one that needed a bird room.
Oh.
I mean, they have birds, so I guess I get it. But it was just funny how this became the center of their house hunting.
That's a bit much, I think, a bird room. Well, I mean, whatever, to each his own. He said that he set apart the southwestern half of the house for his work. The largest room had a bow window where he made his door and constructed the terrace and the lodge. Inside the room, he set up his worship area. It was a wooden structure lined in part with the big mirrors that he purchased from London. So he moves in and he loves this place so much. Crowley gives himself the name Lord Boleskine.
Oh my God.
I mean, he got the house of his dreams. Why not be the lord of it, right?
Right.
And during this time, he becomes famous for his spiritualism and black magic practices. Now check this out. While Crowley was knee-deep in the process of performing the very lengthy guardian angel ritual, he was requested to come back to Paris by the leader of the Golden Dawn. Okay, so that's the actual name of it, is the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. They were a secret society that was devoted to the study and practice of the occult.
Oh, I'm a member of that.
You got your membership card?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. You don't?
No, I didn't.
We'll see if I can put you on the list.
Thank you. Hook me up, sister. So Crowley gets this phone call, ring, ring, and he rushes right out the door, right? But he does so before banishing the 12 kings and dukes of hell.
You know, sometimes it's that you left the stove on. Sometimes that it's you let, demon beast
I know.
roam around your house.
Did I leave the garage door open?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
demon beast roaming around?
It's hard sometimes.
I mean, you get the call from the Golden Dawn. You just got to go.
You got to go.
You got to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when do you know?
I know. Yeah.
You know how it is. So, to this day, many locals blame the house's unlucky history on those evil spirits that unfortunately became trapped at this location due to Crowley's haste. Crowley himself, who's not the kind of guy to admit to making a mistake, had even conceded that the rituals he had performed while at Boleskine House may have gotten out of hand. Quote, Crowley. Regardless, Crowley would continue to perform black magic and various other rituals during his stay at the house. And it was later said that during this period, he had even summoned 115 spirits, including Lucifer himself. Now, he bragged about how an employee of the Boleskine estate got drunk one night after 20 years of abstinence and attempted to kill his wife and children.
And he bragged about this.
Yeah, Crowley was he's a weird dude. The family of Crowley's lodge keeper, Hugh Gillis, had also suffered a series of tragedies. First, when his 10-year-old daughter suddenly dies at her school desk, and a year later, his 15-month-old son died of convulsions on his mother's knee.
Oh my God. Both horrible.
Horrible.
And you do have some bad juju.
Yeah, these incidents were thought to be related to Crowley's black magic. Though Crowley ended up leaving the property in 1913, he left behind a swirl of energies that may have been the cause of other strange happenings which continued on at the Boleskine House for many years after. In 1960, then-owner Major Edward Grant commits suicide by shotgun in Crowley's former bedroom. The housekeeper, 78-year-old Anna McLaren, also had reported having a strange encounter or a premonition of the suicide. She said that she had been alone picking vegetables in the garden when she heard a gunshot come from inside the house. She went into the house but found that there was nobody there. 7 days later, at about the same time of day, she found her boss dead to the self-inflicted gunshot wound.
I mean, when you have an experience like that, though, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, no.
I guess you could tell somebody.
Yeah.
And then maybe when they find themselves in that situation, and then they don't want to prove a right.
And she might have.
So they might avoid it.
She might have when she, when the master came home or whatever, she might have been like, I heard a gunshot. and it's really weird. There's no one around. This is kind of a secluded location. So I don't know where it came from. It's really odd.
I just don't think telling anybody is really going to stop them from doing something like that.
Yeah, no.
I mean, maybe. I try to call my children out on things all the time that they're not actually doing, but I'm just trying to prevent them from doing it. I'm like, I'm watching you.
I'm watching you.
I don't
Eat
know.
them green beans. So the next couple to move in, oh, geez, and this story, this one irritates me. Because it's of a young couple. They move in, and while they're there, the young wife suddenly loses her eyesight. And she's all of a sudden blind, basically. Totally, it's gone. Right now, her husband was like, I can't deal with that, and he just like abandons her there.
What? Why would you leave somebody just because they're blind?
I mean, it's that time frame again where like, when we went to the asylum today, right? And they're just like, I don't know what to do. She's doing stuff I can't deal with. And they would just drop them off and be like, I'm gone.
Well,
you deal with it.
It's an inconvenience too, I'm sure. I mean, I imagine, you would think in a house of this size, they have like servants or something.
Yeah.
So she's not having to do it all herself, but maybe he's like, well, if you can't cook me dinner anymore.
Right.
Then,
exactly. Yeah. Then this isn't working out for me. I got to go.
Right. So she's probably like also upset and she has emotions and he's like, gross. Ugh.
Right.
Feelings.
Very much so. Yeah. So that one just bothered me. I just hate that whole idea that, your loved one is now needs you more than ever. And you're like, peace.
Yeah.
Gotta go. Rough. So moving on. In 1969, filmmaker Kenneth Anger spent the summer in the house. And during that time, he witnessed a heavy painting float off the wall.
No way.
And come to rest on the floor.
Like near him.
Yeah.
And he was tripping on acid,
I assume.
Yeah.
So now we arrive in 1970, and the Boleskine House transfers ownership once again, and this time it is to legendary Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. So Page was fascinated by Crowley, but he was also interested in the house for all of the history too. In a January 1975 Rolling Stone interview, the interviewer says to Page, "You live in Aleister Crowley's home. Crowley was a poet and magician at the turn of the century and was notorious for his black magic rites." Page responded with, "Strange things have happened in that house that had nothing to do with Crowley. The bad vibes were already there." Ooh, what did Page know?
Well, he read the history.
Yeah,
I would
it.
think that too. Like the burning of that congregation, that's what left a mark.
Yeah.
It's that real wizard.
That other wizard that was there beforehand.
Or whatever.
Yeah, Mr. Dr. Strange that used to be there with
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking when you said that.
That's why I did that, with the hand moving around in a circle. That's what it made me think of too.
Right.
Yeah, I think that dude left some bad juju there for real.
Mm-hmm.
So Page, who spent no more than 6 weeks at Boleskine in the 20 years he owned it.
There's some kind of rock song that says something. I don't remember it. Oh, it's a good one though. He talks about like he owns a mansion, but he's never there type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, is that Beverly Hills? Is that Weezer? Is that something like that?
No.
Oh,
it's like it's an old
old
song.
One?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, doot. I'll go to parties.
Yeah. There you go.
That's it.
I'll get a few more wines in you and you'll sing it to me later.
Yeah, I'll know all the words then. Or at least I'll think I will, right? So yeah, it must be fantastic being like a millionaire rock star, right? You just buy this crazy old house in Scotland and be like, I'm only going to be here for a few weeks out of my 20 years that I own it. Whatever. It's just there when I need it. That sort of thing. But he ended up asking his childhood friend, Malcolm Dent, to move in and restore it. So according to Dent, in quotation, "Jimmy Page caught me at a time in my life when I wasn't doing a great deal of anything and asked me to come up and run the place," end quote. Dent told the Inverness Courier in 2006, and I quote again, "I never did establish why he fixed on me." Poor guy. But how cool is that to just be like childhood friends with Jimmy Page, and he's like, "Hey, I got this house. You and your family can move into it. You guys take care of it. Just fix it up for me. That's all I ask."
Yeah, there's just probably 50 ghosts there.
Yeah.
Not in a good mood.
Oh, he didn't tell him that.
Left that part out.
He's like, let's see what happens. Page was doing his own experiments back in the day.
Right.
Let's put a normal family inside this haunted house and see how it goes.
Probably hated that guy, actually.
Dent moved in and lived in Boleskine for a long time and even raised his family there. He said all the main rooms look out across the loch and you're 300 feet up, so you have some very dramatic views. We loved living there. It was a great house to raise children in, and they loved it, in spite of its history and in spite of the peculiar things that went on there. At the time Dent moved in, he knew nothing of Boleskine's history or of Crowley. When he arrived, he said that he was a total skeptic. And to a degree, he still was, but there are things that happened at that house that cannot be explained. He said a girl that was staying for a night had suddenly woke up screaming that she had been attacked by some kind of a devil. Just some random one. You know, there's like 115 of them there. So she's like,
yeah. But wait, you said some girl.
Yeah, some girl. I didn't get
so
a
like
name.
a friend of
Yeah,
theirs.
probably.
Okay, yeah.
I hope it wasn't like, let's have a sleepover.
I'm sure it was.
So bad. Another night, Dent was woken up by what sounded like a wild animal clawing and snorting by his bedroom door. He refused to go and open that door and stayed in his bed until daybreak.
Fuck yes.
When he finally opened the door, there was nothing there, but said whatever was there was pure evil, end quote.
And guess no scratches or nothing found on the door, too. I would have barricaded that fucking door.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
I just want to draw your attention to an earlier quote from the same man who said, also a really good place to raise the kids.
Well, it didn't get anybody.
Yeah, that's true. It didn't leave any scratch marks either.
Yeah.
But it was pure evil.
Yeah, just don't open your door when
Right.
pure evil is there.
Sure. When
Yeah.
pure evil comes a knocking, you do not open the door.
Yeah. Just wait it out.
Wait it out.
Until morning.
Sure. I've seen enough of those paranormal encounter shows. I know that I'll just stay on the other side of this door until it goes away. Got it. He also stated that the doors would suddenly spring open as if someone was running through them and slam in the middle of the night. And then all of the rugs would be found piled up the following morning. Like someone's running through the house. So there's like, you know, you can see the feet.
Oh, they're just sliding around in their socks and
Yes.
stuff like that.
And all of the rugs just
These
get
are some kooky
Yeah, I
hell
know.
demons.
Well, here's something funny. Aleister Crowley, while he was there, he actually painted like symbols all on the floors. So, I mean, that was a part of like the undertaking of him coming in was to kind of restore it to its original Aleister Crowley kind of era, right?
Oh.
So there were symbols and stuff on the floors. And if the rugs were getting moved and stuff so that you could see the symbols, like he probably was like, okay, well, it's there, but the kids don't need to see this.
Right. It's not their style or
Right.
whatever. It's like
Yeah.
when you live in an apartment, but you can't paint the walls or
Right.
something like that.
Yes,
So, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So it might have been something like that. And the demons come out at night and they're like, who keeps covering up my symbols?
Move that
God,
shit out of the way.
I need to see it. It's like a work of art. There, thank you. There's my Monet. So Dent, his follow-up to that, what he thought was going on and what they ended up kind of saying throughout the house when strange shit would happen, they would say it was just Aleister doing his thing. He was like, oh, that silly Aleister. Another story he shares is that of the head of Simon Lord Lovat, whom I mentioned a little earlier, ended up being beheaded.
Right.
That guy. Well, they claim to hear odd noises and state that this was the sound of his head rolling around on the floor at Boleskine.
Totally thought you were going to say floating around.
No.
We've heard a lot of floating head
Yes.
ghosts.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I will laugh at it or if I will be more creeped out.
Yeah.
Like, wait, where's the rest of you?
Right. I think it would be confusing. You see the
Yeah.
head and then you're like, what's going on here? There's...
You feel like you have to look around the room to see where the rest of the body is or something like that.
You think it's an optical illusion. You're like, get away around from those mirrors or whatever, right?
Yeah. But no, rolling around on the floors.
Yeah, rolling around on the floors. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It's got to be a weird sound, I would imagine.
I just said they heard something rolling around.
Yeah.
That could have been rodents in the walls or something.
Yeah, it
and they're
could've.
like, do you hear that head rolling
Right,
around? It's a
right.
ghost head.
Well, it's specifically
This person.
Simon. Yeah, it's his head. So the reason why they felt it was him at the time of his death, apparently he was supposed to have cast his mind back to the heart of the Highlands. Dent explained that the heart of the Highlands is just above Boleskine in Erogi. I might have been pronouncing that one wrong too. And the nearest consecrated ground in Boleskine is right there, right where he is. So he thinks that, he was like trying to get back there in intention. So he just ended up.
That's a lot of logic.
It is. There's that again, 70s that's a crazy time frame. So a lot of drugs. I imagine that's probably how he drew his conclusion, right?
He's got the red string maps and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm figuring this out.
Boop, boop, boop.
But I mean, like, it could be
It
anything.
connects.
But he's like, I want it to be this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make it work.
Right. It has the history there, so he's just going to run with it.
Look, it's better than when like Ghost Adventures are drawing their bogus ass fucking conclusions. So
That's
at least
true.
he's got some facts behind it.
He does have some. Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. So then
Sorry. I don't know if people can hear the background noise or we have the setting right on the recorder, but we are in a public-ish space. Yeah. Not our room. People shouldn't be traipsing through here. But.
No, but there might be ghosts getting caught up in the recording.
That's what that was. It was a ghost motorcycle.
I know he was huffing and puffing because we're making fun of the story. It's like, no, it is Steve Simon. It was him.
Steve Simon.
Steve Simon. Simon says. Sorry, I'm the one that wrote the story and I've already forgotten their names. But I have another story that Dent shared, and this one's a little bit more lighthearted. This story involves 7 chairs that Page purchased from the Café Royal in London. And he quotes again, Jimmy got those chairs specifically because one of them had Aleister Crowley's name on it. I mean, he liked the guy so much. He's like, yes, this completes my collection. Dent said, so each of the chairs belonged to a famous person and had a nameplate on the back and the front.
Oh, okay.
So some of these people were Mary Lloyd, Billy Butlin, James Agate, Rudolph Valentino, William Orpin, and Jacob Epstein. So Dent says Crowley's chair was always placed at the head of the table, but after the chairs underwent repairs, they kept finding Crowley's chair switched with Marie Lloyd's. He said the kids couldn't have done it, and we didn't know why this was happening. Then Dent said he realized the guy who did the repairs didn't know which plaque went on which chair. And he put Mary's name on Aleister's chair and Aleister's name on Mary's chair. So I thought that was kind of cute that those chairs kept getting switched. It was like Aleister, was there. He's like, no, this is my chair.
Yeah. It's a ghost get so picky in particular, man.
Well, I mean, they're supposed to be like, what's the word?
I'm sure they're frustrated.
Well, yeah, but they can be attached to specific items, right? That's why they say when you go to like the antique stores and you bring something home, you might want to bless it because there might be a spirit attached to it. Or you can be like us and we're like, no, we just want to, visit with who's ever attached to this item. Well, there could have been a spirit attached to that chair and he's just like, no, it's my chair. It belongs at the head. Telling you. And yet none of that was as strange as the types of visitors that regularly showed up at the Boleskine House, according to Dent. I had them come from every corner of the world, he said. A lot of them were nutters. And a lot of them were downright dangerous lunatics. They will still be turning up today. The house is on the map as an occult center, and you're not going to get rid of Crowley's legacy that easily. Jimmy Page ended up selling the Boleskine House to Ronald and Annette McGillivray in 1992, and they turned it into a guest house. They despised any mention of Crowley and insisted nothing unusual ever happened there. Locals say the McGillivrays tried to erase Crowley's presence, whitewashing the interior and covering the stone floor with carpet to hide the magical symbols that had been painted there. Their efforts failed several times, alleging the symbols would reappear over and over.
Okay. They want nothing to do with it, but then they let people know we're trying to get rid of this stuff and it keeps coming back.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think I would not say that then.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You're
I
not
think
helping your situation.
Right. Keep that shit on the deal. And maybe it wasn't them. Maybe it was like their son who's like these idiots. No. That shit keeps coming back. They're going to tell you that shit ain't coming back, but it keeps coming back. Maybe it was one of those kind of things.
That's true. Somebody leaked that information.
They leaked that information.
Yeah, it could be the painter.
The painter.
They keep calling.
Yeah, there's always a painter's van there. Like, what are you always painting? Nothing. The bathroom over and over again. It gets foggy in there. The walls get messed up. We got to keep painting it. I guess. I don't know. Even though they attempted to dismiss any notions of hauntings or witchcraft at the house, they could not erase the mystery that shrouds this famous location, as it's all too well known by this point. In 2000, the BBC came to film the documentary titled The Other Loch Ness Monster. And just as a precaution, they had a priest and a minister bless the project, while clerics were also called in to keep the crew safe. Still, they experienced their share of unexplained happenings. The film crew had been attacked by a plague of beetles, suffered repeated equipment failures, and experienced strangely similar nightmares about Crowley. Photos taken at the graveyard, which is just down the hill from the manor, were ruined by a strange circular halo of fog, according to a producer.
It's that wizard.
It's that wizard. Yeah. And so the producer, Gary Grant, he said, he's taken all kinds of photos everywhere. He's like, it was definitely not lens flare or any fault of the camera. He said, I'd never seen anything like it before. Because it's ghostly. And he's not a ghost hunter. So he's just like, this shit keeps showing up in my pictures.
No, and he knows that, I mean, like, he's a professional.
Yeah, right.
He knows what he's looking at.
Exactly.
And he understands the way the cameras and lighting works.
Mhm.
It's his job.
Yeah.
He also knows that other people that he works with or has worked with could call him out on that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So if he goes out there and he's like, it's not lens flare.
Right.
And then like somebody you went to school with, was like, yes, it is.
Yeah, right.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to say that knowing that his reputation, his professional reputation
is on the line. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I really like that story. I like it when, I've said that before, but I really like it when people that aren't involved in the paranormal have something like this happen to them and they're just like, why can't I explain this?
Yeah. They were obviously afraid of the house though.
Oh yeah,
they
with
took
the blessings and all of that.
precautions.
Yeah. They're just like, no.
So the nightmares, I would almost write that off as like they were
stress induced.
scared.
Yeah, totally. That could happen. It's on your mind. You know you're going to be there. You could, totally. You could bring that to bed with you. I mean, who'd want to? Ugh. In another incident, lights exploded, fuses burnt out, and camera stands fell over during a late night shoot in the graveyard.
When things are exploding, it's time to go.
Yeah. It's just, no, it's not happening. Guys.
Lesser fireworks.
Let's build it. We'll have a stage. We'll put a green screen. We can pretend. This is film after all, right? No, it's the BBC, so they had to do it live. The lights that exploded showered the crew in glass. The McGilvarys, who didn't seem to be happy there anyways, ended up selling the Boleskine in 2002 to a couple of Dutch owners who planned to use it as their vacation home. They were not there on December 23rd, 2015, when a fire scorched Boleskine, leaving nothing but the external walls by the time firefighters arrived. They determined that the fire began in the kitchen, but the cause was never identified. Today, the burnout ruins are all that remain of the Boleskine House. The shell of Aleister Crowley's unholy home and nearly 23 acres of cursed land upon Loch Ness. As of 2019, the Boleskine House Foundation, a nonprofit organization, has taken ownership of the property with the plans to restore it. And all visits must now be arranged in advance through the foundation. But guess what? Shortly afterwards, there was another fire at the already fire-damaged Boleskine House.
That wizard is just not having it anymore.
Yeah, somebody pissed him off good.
Yeah, that Dutch family must have went in and was like, now we're not going to be having any of that. And he goes, yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, pretty much. You're right. They came in and they painted the whole house pink. They had pink curtains.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm really sick of this shit.
Is not
okay. That Crowley guy, he was pretty cool.
Yeah,
but
he was working with him, right?
Yeah. I was showing him some tricks and everything. He took a lot of credit for it. That was really fucking obnoxious. But but all you losers since have been a real snooze fest. I'm about to burn this bitch down.
It's gotta go. We're just gonna take it from here.
I say his name wrong, don't I?
I think I say it wrong. I'm not sure. I didn't listen to how anyone pronounces it because I've said it two different ways on here, Crowley and Crowley.
Yeah.
You just take your pick.
That's the trick. Yeah.
You decide. Or you just comment on YouTube and let me know. So the future for this historic location remains uncertain. Although there continues to be odd sightings at the house, which include a series of pictures revealed by the paranormal team Highland Paranormal. They claim to capture what appears to be smoke rising out of the charred remains of the house itself, though the house is very much abandoned. And this was captured during a time when there was no signs of actual fire, and they did not see the smoke with their own eyeballs. It appeared in the pictures after they got home.
See, that's something there.
That's a ghost smoke.
If it's mist or something, I'm sure they would have noted it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Do you want to see that? Have you seen that before? I can show you a picture of it if you would like.
I would like.
All right, there you go.
That is what's left. I love that lamppost.
Yeah.
So just the whole roof has burnt out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see the inside structure too and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the smoke
Yep.
that they didn't see before.
No, they didn't see that. That wasn't
I mean,
there.
because it's been a million years since it's been on fire. So why?
Right.
Why would that be there?
Why would that be there?
They would have noticed that. It's not misty outside.
No,
it's
right.
coming from within the house.
It is, yeah.
And off that chimney.
And they said that chimney was burnt out on the inside too. Like there's no way anyone could be starting a fire from that chimney because it's gone.
Well, you would have went and inspected it.
Yeah.
If you saw this.
Oh, they went
with your
inside.
own eyeballs.
Yeah.
You would have been like, oh my God, there's a homeless person living in there.
Right, exactly.
Why? Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Yeah.
Yeah. That is impressive.
Isn't that neat? So, I don't know, residual ghost smoke
Yeah.
from that wizard.
Like replaying that moment.
Mm-hmm. I'll share the picture captured by Highland Paranormal from 2016 so that you can all see it too. Now, since I'm on the subject and also know way more than I ever really wanted to know about Aleister Crowley, I surely cannot tell you all about this fascinating location without dropping an honorable mention to his magical retreat, which just so happens to be a short 45-minute drive from where we are in New Hampshire.
Do you know where it's at?
Yes, I do.
Because it was on one of our possible lists. And then I could not find a good address for it.
Oh.
I know that you said that you had thought about going out there once before. And I was like, well, fuck, how'd she figure out the address?
This is so funny, guys. So as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Wendy was like, surprise, I'm going to come and see you. No, there was a lot of planning and she didn't just drop in. She did send me a list of places that we could go and see. And on that list, it had Aleister Crowley's magical retreat. Now, mind you, I had already planned this episode for the podcast and I saw that and I did everything possible to not mention it to Wendy. I'm like, yeah, let's do that, because I surely didn't want her to be like, okay, let's write about Aleister Crowley. She's got to clear some of her stories through my husband too. So if he's like, nope, don't do that one, it's going to be like, everyone knows. So I didn't even say anything to you. She sent me the list and I'm like giving her lots of details about everything else. And I skipped like a whole group of them intentionally.
So it's not just that one. You're like, I'll just not talk about these other ones.
I did. I skipped a whole bunch of them, but I'm like, I showed it to Brandon. I'm like, oh my God, she's got it on her list. But yeah, so Aleister Crowley, also known as the wickedest man in the world, spent much of his time traveling in his ongoing spiritual pursuit of magical enlightenment and experimentations. He wrote about his experiences in both fiction and nonfiction, including Diary of a Drug Fiend, The Magic of Thelema, and The Book of the Law, in which he articulated the maxim, do what thou wilt. On his magical expeditions, he was brought to the little town of Hebron, New Hampshire, which rests along the drive to one of my husband's favorite fishing spots, Lake Newfound. I could not believe what I was seeing. We passed it.
Really?
No, it's in a neighborhood. But we've passed the neighborhood going to Lake Newfound.
Yeah.
And of course, I tell my husband, he's like, you don't research anything, do you?
What if he was like, I've been driving you by this, just seeing if you would pick up on it.
Right. Yeah, with my sixth sense. No, I never would have picked up on it. But when I was looking for it to see where it was, because I'm in New Hampshire, I can drive around, I can take pictures of things so I can add to, when I release the podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where is this? It is not near the lake that my husband fishes off of all the time. Yes, it is. Between 1913 and 1918, the house was owned by a medium named Evangeline Adams, who had co-authored a couple of astrology books with Crowley. In 1916, Crowley stayed at the house for 4 months as part of his infamous magical retirement, in which he professed to do all kinds of secret and arcane things. The original and still private 200-year-old house still does exist, as I just said. There are 2 white buildings on the property, the main house and a second smaller one that Adams herself had built for use as a study. So yes, this is a private residence. I don't know if there is anything odd going on inside their home, but we must be respectful and not go off peering into the windows of someone's house. Not only is it rude, it's illegal. So, but it's so rude. So we must peer at it from afar and hope to not get run off. And anyways, that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
I wonder if they have big dogs. Did we talk about one of the places today, like had big dogs?
Yeah.
We need to just say off. Or was that something we didn't do?
No, I had visited the Oceanborn Mary house before, and they had a bunch of dogs on the property. So I'm like out there trying to be like sneaky and take some pictures.
And
I'm
the dog's like constantly barking at you.
Yeah, constantly barking. I'm like, do they release the hounds? And maybe I missed it.
That's what I do.
Release
when
the
anybody
hounds.
gets near my house.
Yeah. So, I would imagine, if I lived in this, just like H.H. Holmes' like childhood home.
Yeah.
You've got people like coming by like, they're like me who just want to see it for themselves and gawking. And like I said, I used to drive around in a Ford Escape that makes a lot of noise. So I bet at that point, H.H. Holmes people, they're like, oh God, here she comes again. Clank, 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 clank. So now I'm a little bit sneakier in my Odyssey. They can't hear me sneaking up on them. So yeah, I'm going to have to ride by it and see it. I don't know if we can squeeze it in tomorrow. I think it's probably going to be outside of our realm, but just know that it's not something that we can tour anyways.
No,
it would be just a drive by.
Gawking at somebody's house.
Not,
I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that as a group event. It might be creepier.
Right. We're all like staring out the windows. There it is.
Getting out, taking a selfie with it, of course.
Right, for sure.
I know those HH Home people, they're like really nice.
Yeah.
They don't come out, ruin your photos or nothing. I mean, maybe they weren't even home. I don't know.
Right.
But I thought there's no loud dogs. There's nobody gawking at you from the window, flipping you off.
Exactly.
Or somebody yelling at you, get off my lawn.
It's true.
But I thought they were being pretty sneaky about this house, Aleister Crowley's. And so I kind of think they don't want you going by there.
Yeah, it is.
They were being really vague where it was at.
It is. It's hard to find. And honestly, just like the Oceanborn Mary house, like if you go and do like only in your state or Wikipedia, like the address for that house isn't there.
Yeah.
Because they sold it a couple years back, I was able to find it on what was that site with the real estate?
Oh, which is Zillow. That's what you said. Yeah.
Yes. Zillow. I was able to find the address on Zillow. So, I mean, like, Aleister Crowley's house hadn't been sold in forever.
Yeah,
so.
but Oceanborn Mary's does have a plaque outside
It
of
does have a plaque outside of it.
But you have to cruise around in the woods, basically, to figure it out in that little town that it was in.
Oh,
But yeah.
and I'm wrong because it does actually have an address. It says, I think on Only in Your State, it says on Bear Road.
Yeah, that's all it tells you.
That's all it tells you. Well, it's actually Bear Hill Road, first of all.
They're trying to throw you off.
Yeah.
See, these people don't want this stuff, but too bad. They're going to get it. But not from us tomorrow. We're busy.
Right, exactly. We're too busy. So we've got other haunted places to see.
I don't know places you can explore.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't know if that place by Newfound where he stayed for his magical retreat is haunted. I would have to assume, Aleister Crowley went around doing his magical thing everywhere. So it's probably got some spirits hanging around doing something.
Yeah, he sounds like he could be a little clumsy sometimes too.
A little careless. Yeah.
But I mean, this house in Scotland, though, I'm telling you, yes, I'm sure his activities didn't necessarily help.
Yeah.
But it already had a dark history to it.
Yeah.
And there were other people that were already affected by this place.
Yeah. I really wanted to do that story as a follow-up to the Hindenburg because that was Led Zeppelin-esque.
Yeah.
And this one, I had to do it back to back. So this one, I wasn't planning on doing it for my 100th episode. I had another podcast in mind altogether, especially since you were coming. I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And because my husband actually gave me the idea to do that episode. And after I started diving into the story, I told you the other night, I'm like, this place isn't really that haunted. It would be great if it was. So maybe one day I'm dropping little hints on something that I might do. Or I might not.
I like it. You've been adding little sneak peeks. Like I'm holding out for these Iceland
creatures
or something that
I
you
got
told
the
us
story
about
right here.
in another one.
I can go on for another hour. Would you like me to tell you a little bit about them? I've got it right here on the juice box.
That's how we celebrate. It's just a marathon
nonstop.
of weird stories.
Yeah.
No, I thought this was a good one for a 100th episode.
Good.
You kind of went back into our history, revisited a little bit of it. My favorite TV show inspired that one. And this house, man, who doesn't love wizards? This is bad wizard, so that's a little scary.
Yeah,
but
it's still interesting though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't help but believe in that stuff.
I know.
I do think that people's powers were stronger in a day and age where we weren't distracted or overwhelmed and just all this mess.
I agree. I mean, here I am. I'm trying to learn, as a matter of fact, the Aleister Crowley tarot deck myself.
Yeah.
And it's tough because there's a lot of things that are different in his card deck versus a regular tarot deck. And there's distractions. I have podcasts. I have television. I have other things. I have to go to work. There are these sort of things.
Boy, it's just like keeping up with the world.
Yeah.
He lived in a hunting lodge in the middle of nowhere so he can practice his magic. What do you think that wizard was doing?
Right, exactly.
I mean, he was legit just wizarding all the time.
All the time.
That
was his thing.
So if we could just quit our jobs and our families, I guess.
And wizard all the time.
Yeah, just do our witch thing all the time.
Nice.
We'd be super magical.
We would.
We'd be broke.
We totally. I'd have so many crystals. So many.
Well, you'd have to go and collect them because you wouldn't have any money. We'd be on the beach all the time. Looking
shells
for rocks and
rocks and all kinds of stuff.
But
yeah, man, that's the dream.
Yeah. I love this story. Thank you so much for telling me because we just only touched on that house for a second and I didn't look into it. There's always so many other shiny little paranormal stories. I never dug into it.
I'm glad that you didn't because like I said, Wendy's story, had kind of ignited that in my brain, especially since she touched on the Loch Ness Monster a little bit in hers. And only to say, by the way, a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink,
we need to go to
wink.
Scotland,
Oh my
but
God.
also
Scotland is so impressive. When I was doing that one story, I found, we said it.
Yeah.
There's other stories over there.
there's tons of other stories.
But there's also like all these creatures like you talked about.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I didn't hear about that. What was it?
The big gray man.
The big gray man.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I read about that one, but I read about like
Oh, yeah.
water horses and it was just all these like, I love that. I
Yeah.
want my elves and fairies
Man,
and things
yes.
like that. And they
Embrace
have so
it.
many stories.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
wizards, we got you.
Yeah.
Loch Ness, we got you. Big gray man. I mean, everything. They got it covered.
Yeah. That's just awesome.
Plus whiskey.
Yeah.
Come down. We need to go and travel the world or at least go to Scotland.
I like the traveling the world idea. Yeah.
We will do it one
We're
day.
going to do that.
Until then, this is how we do it with our podcasts in a B&B in New Hampshire.
Right.
This is okay. I mean, that is what it is. So I'm glad you liked it. Please, 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 please like and subscribe. If you haven't already, leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts about the show. If you've been to Scotland, you've visited any of these places, and you've had any paranormal experiences, we'd love to hear about it.
And be so jealous of you. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And jealous at the same time. If you've got any pictures of the big gray man, he seems to be a little bit elusive. Share them with us. That'd be cool.
Should be so easy to find with all that noise he's making.
I know. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Yeah.
Ow! As usual, all of the links to our socials will be found at the bottom of this podcast. So please visit us. I'll post a couple pictures, whatever. You'll see some things related to the story. Follow us on Twitter too, because every now and then we actually post videos now. That's our new thing.
Yeah, or you can go straight to our YouTube channel and subscribe, and it'll notify you when we post videos. 'Cause we're doing that pretty much daily now too.
Isn't that nice? You just get a notification. You don't have to like look us up. You just be like, bam, and here it is, and you click the
here's
link.
Something hilarious or interesting to watch.
Yeah, so please do that. Follow us there. And we also have an Etsy shop. It is the Spirit Emporium. We also have socials for it too. But at the Spirit Emporium, we sell all kinds of cool handcrafted goodies. Shirts that Wendy makes that are beautiful. I'm wearing one right now. It says, I love Abraham Lincoln.
I almost packed that one.
That would have been great. Been Twinkies. And we're not even filming this
like
one.
those little kids at the gorge thing.
The
gorge. If we only had little tutu skirts.
Oh my gosh. They did have the cutest tutu skirts like ever. Well, one day, Wendy, one day.
When we go on our travels.
Right. So now we do not have tutu skirts in our store. We're still working on the tinfoil hats. And I have to add a baby alive also. I missed that opportunity. So
we talk about it enough, oddly,
I know.
that we have got to find one.
We've got to get that in there. So visit our shop. We have new things getting added regularly.
Yeah.
Or at least in our thoughts. So and one more time, that's the Spirit Emporium. It's on Etsy. And that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome.
So,
So,
bye.
Bye.